When it comes to child poverty, I instantly want the new government to tackle it head on and do what they can to bring people and children out of poverty in the first instance. So watching this is a little tricky for me, but I understand it, and I want to know your thoughts on it. Labour have said that they can't lift the two-benefit cap, and they're doing other things to tackle child poverty, and this is just one lever, yet the media do seem to be quite focused on it. Now I get it, the country is pretty much bankrupt, we've got the highest tax burden in 50 years and no growth, and we can't afford to do everything. You kind of expect Labour government to come in and go, right, let's fix all the mess that the Tories have left. And I'm sure they will do, but things do take time. So Angela Rayner's explanation here is quite honest, I think. And given her background, I don't think she's going to ignore it.
And they're looking to you as a new Labour government to lift that cap. Why won't you do it?
Well, first of all, we're going to be reviewing universal credit, and I think that's important. Secondly, we've got a child poverty strategy, which it's not just one lever. I accept that people are frustrated around the two-child cap, but there is only... That people are frustrated, and they're frustrated over 14 years. We've had 14 years of the Tories who have put us on the highest tax burden for 70 years and the lowest growth. So that's why growth is imperative to us, so that we can afford to spend on making sure we can lift children out of poverty. I've set out the New Deal for working people, which is about making work pay, so people have secure jobs. We'll lift 1 million people instantly into a pay rise under our genuine living wage. And we've also talked about how we'll get people back into homes again. At the moment, there is so many families at the moment that are in temporary accommodation. So we have to fix some of these problems in the long term, but immediately we've set out proposals on how we can support families. It's not just one lever, but I think it's really clear, and we said it before we were elected, that our number one priority is if we cannot say where the money's coming from, we will not make unfunded spending commitments. Of course we want to tackle child poverty. The last Labour government did. We lifted 1 million pensioners and children out of poverty, and it will be this Labour government that will have to do the same again.
So how comfortable are you that, OK, there are limitations on finances, but the Labour Party is not prioritising lifting that cap right at the start of its time in government?
Well, look, I've been really pleased that the Labour Party put the breakfast clubs in primary schools for children, because actually, as a child who was in receipt of free school meals because of my parents' financial circumstances, I went to school hungry. You know, I was waiting till lunchtime thinking about that in my first lesson. So prioritising, because we know we can have the biggest impact on making sure that there's free breakfast clubs, is about alleviating some of the challenges that families face. And, you know, we will continue in the vein of making sure that a priority of the government is to tackle child poverty, but it's not just one lever. Now, I accept that it's abhorrent what the Conservatives have done over the last 14 years, putting more and more families under pressure. Our fiscal rule is very clear and has to be, because when you lose control of the finances, you end up in a situation that Liz Truss put us in, and that's where people are paying more now for their mortgages and their cost of living has increased.
OK, but some of your Labour colleagues think that you should be prioritising this policy. There's even talk this morning that some of them might put down an amendment to the Queen's speech tomorrow to try to make the government do this. What do you say to them? They're not hearing you. They think it's abhorrent and they think you should deal with it.
Well, I accept that people are frustrated and want to, you know, change a lot of things that the Conservatives have done over the last 14 years, but our inheritance is dire. You know, the Chancellor will set out in the coming weeks more of the situation. She's asked all departments to give them the frank information about what's happened, but we've seen unfunded commitments, we've seen the situation, the crisis in our prisons, so we have inherited a really difficult situation. But all I would say is look at what Labour's history and what we do when we're in government. And, you know, as someone who grew up in poverty, I am not prepared to leave office, you know, after a Labour government where we haven't made those significant changes. And child poverty is an issue for us, and we're absolutely appalled that children haven't got beds to sleep in at night. You know, this is the 21st century. This shouldn't be the situation we're in, but this is the inheritance that the Conservatives have left us, and we will continue to tackle those issues.
But like I said at the start, I'd like to know what your thoughts on it. Should Labour actually go in and scrap this benefit cap? or should they look at other ways, as they are doing, to improve people's lives and bring people out of poverty in other ways? So let me know down in the comments. And after former President Trump's assassination attempt, Nigel Farage was on the rounds the weekend trying to claim all the limelight for himself. So you can see him doing that in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.